Hi, my name is Emily White.
I'm Kim Niro.
And I'm Grace Nowlin.
And we did our feasibility study on the Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Coliseum was first built in 1955 and has since held a wide variety of events, including concerts, sporting events, family shows, and civic events. Seating 9,600 people, the Coliseum holds a yearly average of 85 events. The Bojangles Coliseum has been home to the Charlotte Checkers, a minor league team in the AHL, off and on since 1956, and has recently been planning their tentative return. Because the Coliseum has not undergone any major renovations since 1993, upgrades, restorations, and repairs are necessary in order to accommodate the Checkers and ensure an increase in revenue for the Coliseum. In order to accomplish these goals, the CRVA has proposed a 2-year plan that identifies $16 million in renovations. The project will be funded by the City of Charlotte, more specifically hospitality tax. The majority of the funds will come from the existing debt capacity in the Convention Center Operating Fund that is already reserved for amateur sports. The rest will come from the balance in the Cultural Facilities Fund. In addition to the funds provided by the city, the Charlotte Checkers plan to donate $1.1 million that will go towards renovations and equipment necessary for the Coliseum to support the team's relocation back home.
The renovations are scheduled to begin in the summer of 2015, and this budget will be split into 2 major sections, with $12 million being allocated to facility upgrades for civic and smaller events, and $4 million going primarily to the Charlotte Checkers signage and hockey equipment within the Coliseum. The Checkers will also spend an estimated $1 million on new video and control room technology and locker and training room supplies. The $12 million budget will be allocated to 8 different functional areas of the Coliseum. Of these, the first is seating. $1.2 million will go toward replacing and refinishing the entire seating sections and taking some of that and turning it into a luxury section of club seating. Approximately 500 of the current 9,600 will be made into club seating, accounting for 5% of the total seating of the Coliseum, which will provide the Coliseum with additional revenue and opportunities. Structural and roofing repairs will account for $700,000 of the budget. Although there have not been major problems to either of these, the quality has gone down and decreased the overall value of the building. Parking has been one of the major concerns for those attending events at the Bojangles Coliseum. The exterior land surrounding the facility also needs to be repaired. Due to the high demand for these improvements, $1.2 million will be allocated to add a new section of parking and improve current conditions of the existing lot. With the huge growth in concessions and large sport facilities throughout the nation, the budget is going to grant $600,000 to this sector of the Coliseum. Today's ratio of the number of concession stands needed per patron has gone up due to higher quality and demand. Therefore, this portion of the budget will expand current spaces and equipment and add an additional concession space to the existing two to allow for faster service and maximize customer satisfaction and revenue. ADA and safety improvements are another area that the budget will focus on due to the lack of accessibility within the Coliseum that currently exists. There are no elevators, which is against ADA requirements and severely limits where people with disabilities can sit. $700,000 will be granted to add an elevator and ensure there are smooth, flat surfaces for easy access to seating. An estimated $1.6 million of the budget will go towards purchasing new and improved scoreboards, televisions, and sound systems located throughout the concourse and the main arena itself. This improvement will increase the likelihood of the Checkers renewing their contract at the Coliseum and the overall reputation of the facility. Plumbing repairs will be given a $2 million portion of the budget, and finally, $4 million will be allocated to provide new equipment for the lighting and sound control rooms and make these upgrades energy efficient for the Coliseum.
The Bojangles Coliseum is located in Charlotte, North Carolina in Mecklenburg County. Charlotte is the second largest city in the southeast and has a population of 731,000. The metropolitan statistical area is Charlotte-Concord-Gastonia, which includes counties in both North and South Carolina and has a population of around 2.3 million according to the 2013 census estimates. For our feasibility study, we collected demographic data regarding household income, education, ethnicity, age, and gender to analyze the market for the types of programming that the Bojangles Coliseum should choose to focus on post-renovations. From the demographic data we collected for both the City of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, the area has the infrastructure and market to support our plans for the Coliseum. With educated adults with discretionary income in the area, the addition of programming to the Coliseum schedule would have a market that would also be able to sustain it. Because a major part of the project involves the Charlotte Checkers moving back into the Coliseum, we also analyzed both the psychographic and demographic data for hockey fans in the area. Charlotte and Mecklenburg County have similar demographic distribution to typical AHL fans. From the psychographic data we analyzed, we found that Charlotte already has a strong fan base to continue to support the Checkers with their move from the Time Warner Cable Arena back to the Bojangles Coliseum. The Checkers are in the top 10 for attendance of the AHL, have a strong partnership with the NHL affiliate, the Carolina Hurricanes, located in Raleigh, North Carolina, and North Carolina has one of the largest growth rates in youth participation of hockey in the country. From this data, we can conclude that the return on investment for the Coliseum renovations will be supported by the market.
Our balance sheet projects total assets of $40.6 million, total liabilities of $16 million, and $24.5 million in total owner's equity in year one. Our total current assets, cash, accounts receivable, and inventory account for 3.3% of our total assets. Land, building, and equipment account for 96% of total assets, less $1.75 million in accumulated depreciation. Total current liabilities account for only 2% of total liabilities, with long-term debt and other long-term liabilities accounting for the remaining amount of our funds. The positive net income of approximately $1.4 million from year one provides us with a portion of the owner's equity section of the balance sheet. These retained earnings are projected to increase steadily each year, totaling around $12.5 million at the end of year 5. The Checkers donation remains a consistent $1.1 million each year, and the rest of the owner's equity begins with $22 million in year 1 and over the span of 5 years increases to $28.5 million.
Our income statement projects the first year revenue to be approximately $6 million and expenses $3.6 million, resulting in a net income of around $1.4 million. Our largest revenue sources are resulting from the Charlotte Checkers move. We expect our sponsorship revenue to increase by 10% each year from $1 million and our event revenue to increase by 15% each year from $2 million. As for Checker-specific revenues, license fees will increase 1.5% every year. Both the home and away team will be required to pay for practice time at the Coliseum, $150 per hour for the Checkers and $300 for the away team. Parking is expected to generate about 1.8% of revenue, with the Checkers parking costing $12 per game. In order to reach a return on investment within 7 to 8 years, the Checkers will also be required to pay $2.50 of each ticket they sell, as well as 3% of total ticket sales. The added premium seating in the Coliseum will help increase ticket revenue and has an estimated growth rate of 3%. As for expenses, our greatest expenses are the depreciation of our assets at $1.7 million in year 1 and the 8% interest expense of $960,000. We project salaries and wages to accumulate to $700,000 in year 1 and increase by 2% each year. Maintenance of the Coliseum, including utilities and repairs, will account for 9.7% of our expenses, while insurance, merchandise, and advertising expenses will each be between 2.5 and 3.7% of our total expenses. Overall, we expect the individual cost of each event to be approximately $450,000 with a growth rate of 10% each year.
Our statement of cash flows illustrates an increase in flow of cash over the span of 5 years. The operating expenses that show a positive flow in cash are increase in net income, depreciation, current installments of long-term debt, and accounts payable. Inventory and accounts receivable accounted for negative outflows in operating activities. The investing activity that our statement of cash flows records is the purchase of new equipment and fluctuates our outflows of cash each year. The financing activities that affected our cash flows are a long-term note payable, which decrease our cash, and owner's equity, which accounts for an inflow of cash. Due to the investing, financing, and operating activities resulting from the renovations, our cash increases from $871,000 to $22 million over 5 years. Based on our research and planning, the Bojangles Coliseum renovations project is feasible. The income statement shows a positive growing net income with the generated revenue from the Charlotte Checkers games and other events. Our statement of cash flows shows that we are investing in equipment while paying off long-term debt, which are both good signs of a growing organization. The renovations for the project will bring a steady increase in attendance, along with loyal fans for the Checkers, as shown in the demographics obtained regarding the fan base of AHL in the Charlotte and Mecklenburg County areas. This project will benefit not only the Coliseum, but the city as a whole. Bojangles Coliseum has had numerous changes to the facility's name and in teams that have played there. Bringing the Checkers back and completing these renovations will give it the boost it needs to maximize profits, host more events, and act as one of the top sport and entertainment facilities in the area. Market analysis shows the potential for many hockey leagues and associations to take advantage of the Coliseum once it is renovated, with youth hockey in North Carolina ranking as the 6th highest rise in youth participation in the United States. The changes this project seeks to make to the Coliseum fit with the needs and have the support that will guarantee an increased revenue and attendance that has been forecasted in these financial statements.
Okay. I'm just gonna go. Ready?
Yeah.
Are you so Alright, I'll start.
Okay. Coliseum in Charlotte, North Carolina.
That's really bad.
North Carolina.
Oh wait,
Recording.
who's starting?
It's recording.
Wait,
I thought